Ladies and gentlemen, here we are. We are the Vinyl Community Guncles, ready to tackle another album review. This time, it's from Paul Revere and the Raiders. It's Spirit of 67. I think this is actually from 66, right? They're doing that thing like the Beatles and people where they put out the year before to try to seem like they're just from the future. You know, they're on the cutting edge, Paul Revere and the Raiders.
Yeah, that's what those outfits scream, we're from the future.
Right. Well, we'll definitely discuss that. We are the Vinyl Community Guncles. I'm Robert Fitton, along with Richard from Calvin Wazoo, Craig from Craig's Vinyl Plethora, and ladies and gentlemen, the man that did his own midnight rides, but it had nothing to do with warning about the British, Mike from Hub Tunes.
Yeah.
Maybe.
All right. So Paul Revere and the Raiders. So obviously I've heard this. I have this. And yeah, look at those dorks. And that's an issue. That's definitely an issue. But let's talk about the music first. First of all, have not heard this in a long time. I just don't usually reach for Paul Revere and the Raiders albums. And this is you can get this for $3 or whatever. So this isn't hard to get anywhere. In fact, I was just at an antique mall where one of the booths had 3 of these. So this is not hard to find. And so it starts off with Good Thing, which is a big single, really upbeat, lively, probably my favorite song from these guys. A great little guitar riff in there. You know, the song stops and they do the little ding, 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 doo, 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 and it gets back. You know, it's groovy, as the kids used to say. That's followed off to a really lively, energetic sound that, you know, sounds just like you would expect if you know Paul Revere and the Raiders hits. I mean, that's probably one of the bigger ones. All About Her is next, little melodramatic Baroque pop, which, you know, I've heard this album before. I have it. I played it a couple of times before, you know, we decided to review it, or Mike decided that we should review it. And I don't really remember it. So I played it about 3 more times. I didn't remember that. Baroque pop, melodramatic. In My Community is after that. A little bit of, social commentary in that one. We're going to start over. You know, this guy's going to start his own society up, and, you know, people who are drags won't be able to live there, and people who are, you know, whatever. It's almost like should be called In My Commune, because that's really more what it's probably going to end up being, since it's we're approaching the late 60s here. After that is Louise, which is another really upbeat, fun 60s pop group song. That could have been a single. I don't know why it wasn't. Why is after that one. And that's
it's so hard.
Well, it is so hard. It's so hard that song kept getting remade, at least the idea of that song. So they are really kind of a little ahead of their time on that one, because it's about the rock star that, you know, is on tour and got to get up and hit the road, lady. You can't fall in love. So why does it have to be this way? I don't want to leave you, girl, but it doesn't say that, but that's the theme of the song. I got to get back on the road. How many rock songs from the late 60s and early 70s and even into the 80s, like Journey, what's the one? Faithfully, same thing. You know, Bob Seger, Turn the Page, Ramble On, Led Zeppelin. I mean, the list just goes on and on and on. I don't know of an earlier one. I don't know of a one from 66. So they were pretty ahead on that one. Oh, To Be a Man is another one that kind of is a little ahead of its time. Ballad, about, you know, all the things that you don't expect to happen when you become an adult, and it's really a drag, and all this stuff about I want to be a grown up and I want to go out and do my own thing isn't real. You go out, you grow up, you have to get a job, and you're indebted to the boss, and he decides how your life's going to be, and you work and work and work, and you do what the boss says, and he's just like your parents, and you're right back where you started. I mean, that's pretty progressive for a band that looks like that in 1966. So already, I mean, I'm getting really surprised by this album and all the different themes it has, and it's really kind of a little more mature than I expected. Side 2 starts with Hungry, which is another single. It's similar to Good Thing. I don't like it nearly as much, but it's another one of those that, okay, this sounds like what I expected. Paul, rocking little 2.5 minute number from Paul Revere and the Raiders. They probably did it on Shindig and, all the TV shows and whatever. And Undecided Man kind of sounds like Eleanor Rigby, which they had to be on it to copy that song that quick. Revolver had just come out, has the same kind of, what's that guy's name? Bernard Herrmann. Same kind of strings. The guy that scored all those movies like Psycho, which is kind of what Eleanor Rigby always reminded me of. Same thing. 1001 Arabian Nights. They're already satirizing the sitar thing. So again, a little bit ahead. They're already, they've got the sitars, but it's a guy's mouth, going wow, 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 which is goofy. But I think they're trying to be satirical. And then the album ends with the Great Airplane Strike, which was the third single. Didn't do well, a failed single.
Yeah, it was
horrible song title for a song. The song's not too bad. It's okay, but you're not going to get anywhere with a title that oblique in 1966. Nice fuzzed guitar in that one. So overall, this was a really surprising album. And I think the whole issue is right there.
Yep.
And right there. They're called Paul Revere and the Raiders just because one of the guys, not even one of the singers, one of the guys' name is Paul Revere. Revere is literally his middle name. And so they're called Paul Revere and the Raiders. No. And those outfits, that colonial, no. I mean, I'm sure this looked great on television and they probably got a lot of but this looks like the kind of band that would be made up for a TV show. Like, Green Acres or something would have a band come through town and their bus broke down and they look like that. And they're not real. I mean, this right here is what kept look at the fucking look on that guy's face. I think that's the lead singer. You just want to slap that dude. What the hell? But they did have more than one lead singer, but Mark Lindsay is the main lead singer. But yeah, I think if they would have just dressed a little more groovy and, if their name would have been something like Purple Cookie Bridge or something like that, this would be considered a pop psych classic and it'd be a $30 album, but they're not. They're Paul Revere and the Raiders. And that's the problem. That's why nobody wants this. That's why it's $1. That's, and those stupid outfits, which they would continue to dress like this for, I think, another couple years.
Yes, they were known for bad outfits.
And it's gimmicky. That's not the late 60s at all. That's like more like the early 60s, like 61, 62. And those white pants, which do these guys have genitals? How do you dress like that in like tight white tights pants and not, you seen them?
Yeah.
It's are these like 4 women? What the hell? Paulina. Anyway. Yeah, that's the problem right there. There it is. Otherwise, this would be a pop psych classic.
Yeah.
And it's a lot more mature than I thought it was going to be, and a lot more variety and a lot better written than I thought it was going to be. And I will give it 4 rainbows. But I will say one more thing. It is on Columbia. And if you're going to get records on Columbia, you're going to get them from mid-late 60s, maybe into like 71. Don't get the ones with the small pressing ring like that. Get the ones with the larger pressing ring that goes around, right under the Columbia. Those are the ones that are pressed by CBS. The ones that have the smaller pressing ring like that are contracted out, and they sound like garbage. I don't know who's pressing them, but they were not pressed by CBS. They were contracted out.
Yeah.
And they are garbage pressings. This sounds terrible. Sounds like it's coming off of a transistor radio.
Mine sounds okay. I mean, not great, but it's in really good shape.
Well, this one's in good shape too. I'm not talking about the grading of it. I just mean the pressing is terrible. Yeah. And I've had other Columbia records where they've had that smaller pressing ring and it's a contract pressing and they don't sound good either. I mean, going all the way up to like Dr. Hook, Sloppy Seconds. I finally got rid of mine and got one with a proper CBS pressing, and it doesn't even sound like the same album. I mean, And I think we mentioned this before too. Mike has the mono, I had the stereo, and this was back in the days when a lot of the labels would have the same slick and they would pull it down.
Yeah.
Stereo would be at the top. If you have the mono one, it would be pulled up and it shows more of the photo at the bottom. So there's a little. The Monkees are like that. RCA's like that. Elvis records are like that. Columbia's like that. There's a few other labels that did that. Dunhill, ABC did that. Anyway, 4 rainbows.
4 rainbows from Fifth then. Never heard anything by the Paul Revere. I didn't know the Good Thing song. If they have other songs that I know, I don't know, but I've never heard them ever. So
probably Indian Reservation would be
Indian Reservation's probably their big song.
Cherokee people.
Oh.
And that one, they're dressed like Indians on.
Yeah, right.
Well, I know that song. I didn't know it was them. But well,
It's
Tim
later.
McGraw
It's
sang
kind
it.
of a standalone kind of thing.
Yeah.
Yeah, which is fine. They were from Boise, Idaho. That's always exciting, and it's always nice to go after Fithin because he just did the whole like song by song thing, and I don't really
Richard
have
does
to
song
say
by
that.
song.
Yeah, I know he does, but you just do it so brilliantly and wax poetically that I'm just like I don't really have to say anything. It's wonderful, because I don't really have a lot. Apparently Terry Melcher produced them. Yeah. Doris's son, so I know who he is because it's Doris's son.
I specifically left that out so that you could say
thank you that I could say something about my Doris.
He also wrote
one and only. Huh?
He also wrote Good Thing.
Yeah. Oh, he did.
Oh, co-writer.
He was a big producer. I mean, he produced a lot of
huge producer.
And then the other dude replaced him.
No, mine just says Terry Melcher.
Mark Lindsay replaced him as producer later.
Oh yeah, later on, not on that.
Yeah, later on, yes.
Yeah, that's the main lead singer.
So I didn't hate any of this. It was fun. Groovy is a good word. Again, some of the 60s stuff, it just has to be the right thing for me. This wasn't like the wrong thing, but it wasn't like, I don't know, I listened to it 3 times. It
wasn't a good thing?
Good, I get it. It wasn't Fine Young Cannibals' good thing. Good thing. Never mind.
Which is a Motown sound throwback. So again, 60s.
Now I don't know where I was going. No, it wasn't bad. It wasn't terrible. It was I don't think I would rush, like I don't think I need to have this in my collection, but it was nice to actually hear something. That cover is really wretched. Fithin looks mighty fine in the outfit. Is there more to the outfit than the top? No. Or you don't have no
white pants on?
Oh, you probably should have some. There are some fans that would appreciate you in tight white pants. So,
right.
I can think of 2 of them. Let's see. Yeah, there's not. But the thing is, there wasn't a song that like stuck out that I was like, oh, I want to listen to this over and over again. But it was nice, and it wasn't. Yeah, I don't really have a lot to say. I'm just going to be a not a lot to say guy today. So, but I am going to give it 3 rainbows.
Yeah, I went track by track. I don't usually do that, but I did it on this because a lot of them are so different. I mean, you can actually do that with this album because there's so much variety.
Yeah.
When this was released, I think like 8 years old, and I saw Paul Revere and the Raiders on TV on a couple of the shows a couple times. Saw photos of them, and even at that time, I looked at them and I thought, "Who are these?"
You're like dorks? Gay.
Who are these dorks that are? It's just like
gays.
So I just never took anything they did seriously. My brother had the 45 single of Indian Nation. I remember hearing, which one is it? Hungry. I remember hearing that a lot on the radio. But that's really kind of it. So when I was listening to this, I was kind of like Robert. I was really kind of surprised that I was expecting, mid '60s pop music, and instead I got a wide variety of music that didn't, to me, sound like it was trapped in the '60s. It some of these songs, played well now, and so being released at that time in '66, '67. Yeah, these were well done pop songs. Now, is this a record I want to go out and buy? No, I don't think so. It's not something I really want to add to my collection, but there were some, decent songs, like Why. I thought that was a really good song. And in fact, the first time I listened to the album, the first playlist I listened to had everything all mixed up. And so it took me a while after the second or third listen, then I went back and checked the order, and then I started listening to it in order. And I didn't think Good Thing's an okay song to me. It was just okay. And to me, it was not as a good opener as the first song that played, and I think it was Why might have been the opener on the list that I was listening to. Louise, I really like that song too. I like the line, "This girl's out of season." I don't know, there's just that line just kind of stuck with me, and it really made me think of the Beatles' "Drive My Car," parts of that melody. And it seemed like that's what they were doing with this record. They were like reacting to a lot of other songs that were coming out at the time, but their way of interpreting them were decent. They were decent, decent renditions, or decent. I don't want to say rendition because I'm not saying they're doing covers, but they did a decent job of taking these musical ideas and redoing them in their own way. The Great Airplane Strike, the closer, that reminded me very much of like Rolling Stones from Out of Our Heads, from that era, and similar sound to it. I think my favorite song on there, Mark Lindsay's voice on a couple of these songs to me sounded really affected. And it was like he was really just trying too hard to get emotional with the songs. But I thought what he did with, which one is it? With Hungry, I thought he did better with that one because he lets his voice loose, and really lets things go. It's when the song starts, he's doing that weird affected thing with his voice that I really didn't like. So by and large, yeah, this is an album from 1966 that doesn't sound trapped in 1966 like so many, songs or music can from any era, that it was released and has that sound, and it doesn't age well going forward. This does with a lot of the songs. But even if it's a $2 record, it's not one I feel like really any need to add. I mean, again, those outfits, I don't know why they did that.
Amazing.
I mean, it's just.
I think to get on TV. I think it was a TV appearance thing, from what I understand. They were apparently. I mean, I wasn't around, but they were apparently always on TV shows.
Mm-hmm.
I mean,
they
music,
were
music variety type shows.
Yeah, I would see him on a lot of shows, and which is kind of too bad because in some respects, I guess that kind of means a little bit they didn't believe in their own abilities, to win an audience by just playing their music,
Or the
and
record,
their music
the
wasn't.
record company probably.
Well, yeah, I
Yeah.
mean, I'm thinking that they were booked because of the outfits. We want the guys with the
Right.
outfits to
And
be on.
because his name, somebody goes, "Oh, your name is Paul Revere. Okay, this is what we're gonna do."
Right.
And then boom.
Yeah.
But I'm gonna give it 3.5 rainbows. It's a decent album, and there are a few songs that I do really, really like. Our Candidate's another good one. That's a good boogie. I really like that one. But yeah, 3.5 rainbows for it.
It's interesting that you guys don't want this, and I already have a copy of this, and I actually want to get a different copy, one that's properly, pressed. So even though I have one, I'm the only one that actually wants this.
Well, I have it, and I'm happy with the copy I have. I think this is one of the more underrated albums of the 60s. No one talks about this record. I just think it's really, really good. It's definitely their best record. And the rest of their stuff, not great. A few hit singles like Indian Reservation. I think that's probably their biggest, most well-known song. Awful song. I hate that song. So this, produced by Terry Melcher. Also, Good Thing. I love Good Thing. I just dig that song. I've always loved it. Great song. Got a big boost again when the Tarantino movie came out. Once Upon a Time in Hollywood. Terry Melcher wrote that, and of course the scene that is in that movie, that's Terry Melcher's house. Supposedly his house. I've always really dug it. It's Mort Garson does all the string on it too. Very, very famous arranger. Odd arranger too. I mean, he would go on to. I've been to some electronic concerts where they've actually done Mort Garson's arrangements on electronic computers and synths and stuff, and it's really, really cool. I won't go through every song. Good Thing, I absolutely love. It's my favorite song on the record. In My Community, I think really good. Louise, excellent. Louise is probably my second favorite song. I really like that. The whole first side, Why, and Oh to Be a Man. I think the first side is great. And then it opens up with Hungry on side 2. Undecided Man, it's all right. Our Candidate, when I first heard that song, I was like, oh, this is going to be 60s cheap. It's pretty good, and it kind of holds up. 1001 Arabian Nights, very good. And then The Great Airplane Strike. That would not be a choice of mine for a single. I don't know why that was a single. I mean, obviously the record company threw that out as a single, but I would have done Why or Louise definitely as another single. We talked about the outfits. Absolutely horrible. They would do that throughout their whole career, just like this. They would dress up in little. It just really bad. But yeah, you're right, Robert. It's all for television. Television was the big medium back then, and it probably helped them sell a lot of records because they did. They were a very popular band in the 60s. Very popular in the United States. I don't know about outside, but I've always dug this record. I thought you guys might like it. It's just really underrated. Really underrated. So I'm going to give it 4 rainbows. It's
definitely different than anything we've reviewed before. For the single
we've been doing so many newer things. I wanted to.
Well, even from the 80s and some from the 70s. I mean, I don't know if we've done one that's like from the 60s like that. Where it's like a straight up pop album. A little bit of, considered a. I mean, it's obviously got more going on, but considered a pop album with a gimmicky kind of band like that. That we can actually. They got a little more going on, and you can actually have a conversation about 14.5 rainbows.
Rainbows.
All right. Richard knows which one we're listening to next. Top this one.
And that's going to be Panic at the Disco, Death of a Bachelor.
Okay.
Death of a Bachelor.
So that is next time. We'll be reviewing that one.
Okay.
And we are also going to talk about the tops and bottoms of 1970 coming up as well. So stick around for that. and all kinds of fun on the way as we continue. Hopefully, you'll continue with us. We are the Vinyl Community Guncles. Go out and grab your copy of The Spirit of 67 for $2 from Paul Revere and the Raiders. It'll be some of the best $2 you ever spent. Just make sure you get it with the large pressing ring.
Yep.
All right, my name is. We are the Vinyl Community. What were you going to say?
Is it large?
Yes, right under the Columbia. We are the Vinyl Community Guncles. I'm Robert Fitton, along with
Richard at Calvin Wazoo.
Craig, Vinyl Plethora. I forgot who I was.
Mike at Hubtones.
Hopefully we'll talk to you again next time.
Bye.
Those cuffs.